So you're definitely doing better with this turn-in. I like a lot of the adjustments you've made. I just want to bring up this text, ZBrush Digital Sculpting. You have access to this through Safari Books, so if you want kind of more in-depth sort of walkthrough with anatomy, other than the resources I've given you so far, this one could probably help you out a little bit as well. Chapter 3 breaks down the entire head and neck, so it kind of goes through the main shapes of the skull, which we've covered quite a bit of this already in my videos, but at least this is kind of broken up into chunks you can sort of go through. So if you want to look at this, help you sculpt a bit more of the anatomy, that would be fine. I would say we're in week 4 now, and you've spent 2 months on this, so we really need to be getting on to kind of finishing this, getting the topology done. We could keep fixing things along the clavicle, the neck, around the lips and everything, ear, but at some point, we kind of have to move on, make sure you can get through the whole process. And then we can, next portfolio class, move on to your next character, texturing this character actually. So to do the retopology, if you want to spend maybe a day or 2 more on sculpting, that's all I would, and then I'd get into retopologizing this. So to retopologize this, we can't take 500,000 polygons into Maya. So I'm going to go to this subtool and I'm going to duplicate it, and then we're going to decimate this one. So if you go to Z plugin, decimation master, and then we want to pre-process current, and that's going to run. Depending upon the size of your mesh, this can take a minute, or this can take 5-10 minutes. So we're under 1 million polygons, so it's going pretty quick. And you can see it running in the top bar. Then we'll go to Z plugin and we're going to decimate current. So you always have to process first, or pre-process first, then decimate. This is the percentage from the original. So because you have 500,000, 20% decimation should be enough. If we want to keep it under 100,000 for working in Maya with quad draw. So whatever percent you have to put it at to get you there, based on what you started with, is what you should do. So 92,000 is pretty good. You can see I turned off the other mesh. So this is 20% of the original, and we still get all the details here we'd need to actually work with the topology, or draw the topology on top of here. If we turn on polyframe, you can see it's all triangles now, but it's made some bigger ones, it's made some smaller ones, so where there's more detail, it's left more polygons, and when there's less detail, we have less polygons. If Maya works slow for you when you're doing your retopology, you can come back in here, dynamesh it a little bit, decimate it a little bit more, and the lower you can get it, the more optimized it'll run inside of Maya. So I'm going to go ahead and export this, and I would call it, the name of your model underscore decimated, so something like that. And then we're going to pop into Maya. All right. So, and you should have set your Maya project to, be working out of that. You'll definitely need it when we start doing the textures and displacement maps and all that good stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and import, and when we import OBJs into here, you always want to make sure you use OBJ, not best guess, and then at the bottom, make sure single object is checked. If not, it can come in multiple parts, or your UVs could be split apart, and it could give you problems. So I'm going to go to import after that. We'll go to downloads, grab your OBJ and bring it in. So to start the retopology process, you really want to make sure that you're working off some good reference. So I'd jump over to Pinterest. You can do a search for me if you don't have my Pinterest boards already, but I have a wireframe board here, and I'd really like for you to use this as your reference for building out your wireframe. So a couple of things we can see is we have circular wireframes going around the lips, circular around the eyes. We have this going down into the chin to bring out the smile line. So first observe the reference and see what these edges are intended to preserve as far as detail. We want to flow with the muscles and the way things would deform, so we don't get a stair-stepping effect from our polygons when our final character is deformed. So I would have your reference open over here, maybe do some counting to see how many polygons they're using around certain loops, because I'd like you to follow this as exactly as possible. So if we look around the lips, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 around the bottom corner. The top should match. Let's check that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's actually 8. They have more in the corner. The top and the bottom should line up as close as possible, so when the lips close, they have those verts to kind of meet up. So we'll go with 32 polygons all the way around. So I'm going to click this mesh. I'm going to go ahead and click the magnet up here, which is going to make it live so I can draw on it. I'm going to open the modeling toolkit, and I'm going to hit quad draw. I'm also going to make sure under symmetry that we turn object X on, so I only have to draw one side of this. So I'm going to go center line here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll put 1 in the corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that gives me 8 faces across the top. I want to make sure they're pretty evenly spaced, so I'd spend some time adjusting that so they felt evenly spaced, and then I'd mimic that along the bottom. So I'm trying to follow those as straight down as I can. Move those apart a bit so we can get a center line in there. There we go. Work on the spacing again. And these are things that you can clean up a bit more than me. So this is just to get you started. I'm not showing you an example of a perfectly done job. For that, I want you to look at the reference I have up on the left. So from here, I can hold down Shift, and I can just draw through these polygons, and it's going to get me the retopology for that. From here, I can just follow that looping pattern out. Sometimes I find it's easier to do bigger sections, and then you can cut back through to get the additional loops. So if, let's say this is the edge of the lips, so let's move this down all the way around. And it's hard for me to see where the top of the lips are with this model, so you might want to define those more in ZBrush, but let's say it's right here. I'm seeing that his lip has, let's say, 1, 2, 3 edges. It looks like maybe a closer one as a holding edge. So I could hold down Control here, divide that up, and this is the one that's closer for the holding edge. From there, I can go and start either going down for the chin or working this loop up for the smile line. So watch the direction of the loops, what they meet up with, and basically try to copy this as close as you can so you get that topology but for your character. A couple other things, if you hold down Shift, you can relax these so it helps you to get a nicer looking edge flow out of this. When you get to areas like that holding edge where it was supposed to be closer together. If you relax it too much, it's going to kind of hurt that or ruin that, so just be careful with the relax. Other things that you can do to speed up your workflow is you can use extruding once this surface is live. So if I hit W, it takes me out of quad draw. And I could go into edge mode for this. It looks like I'm locking up here. Let's give it a moment to catch up. There we go. So go to edge mode, and I could pick, let's say, from here, double click here, so that clicks or selects the edge all the way through. And if I do an extrude, let's just hit W, I can start sliding this up, and you can see it's going to slide it along the skin of my character. If I go back into quad draw, I could now maybe add in some edge loops where needed. Maybe first I want to hold down shift up here and average those out better, move them around to where I feel they should go. Looks like those two got connected, so I might have to delete that. But that's a way that you can extrude out parts to kind of speed up this process. I'm going to show you one more area with just doing a bigger spot and then cutting in loops. So along the nose here, we have, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sections along there. So what I could do is get these bigger polygons, and sometimes if you're doing it this way, you want to make these polygons bigger or wider than what you need. It's going to make it easier for Maya to figure out what you're trying to do. So now I have enough going along the bridge. I can come through here, hold down Control, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I think is what we counted. And now we can bring these outermost ones out to follow that bridge better. And just make sure you're following what these edges are doing in the reference. That's going to be the major concern. And then I'm holding down Shift, and I can relax all the stuff in between to kind of even out the flow. Sometimes you'll have to turn the model to get the relax to work. So that should really get you started with laying out the edge flow. Again, follow this as what it's supposed to look like. So when you're all done, it should look nice and clean, have the same poly count, all the same looping structures, and that's what I'll be looking at grading you on for this week. After that, for next portfolio, we'll lay out the UVs and we'll start texturing this character. So if you have any questions, shoot me an email. But you're definitely, you did a better job this week. So good stuff.